to Paranormal Heart Podcast with host Kat Ward. Welcome, my friends, to Paranormal Heart Podcast. Tonight's segment is live, streaming on United Public Radio Network, 107.7 New Orleans and 105.3 the Gulf Coast. And you already know I'm your host, Kat Ward. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. So the views and opinions expressed on Paranormal Heart Podcast are not necessarily those of the show host, network, or producers. Paranormal Heart Podcast is always respectful and courteous to all involved. Folks, my special guest tonight, I don't know, you might have heard of them before. Not sure, maybe. Michelle Desrochers and Wayne Mallows. Michelle and Wayne will be discussing what it was like living in the haunted manor. So many strange things have happened while they live there, and I've touched on it a little whenever I've had them on the show before, but I thought I would dedicate an entire segment just talking about the beautiful manor. So without further ado, please welcome Michelle and Wayne.
Hello.
Hey there.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Patsy. Yeah. Oh, gosh. Well, thanks for having us. It'll be fun.
Thank you.
Oh,
Yeah.
hello, Patsy. Hello, Janie. Nice to see you all.
Hi, Mish.
Oh, Mish.
Ooh,
Everybody's chiming in now.
you betcha.
Thank you so much for being here. Yeah,
Oh,
thank you so much for
pleasure.
being on. Yeah, we've
Ah.
on the show and off the show we've discussed the manor before, and Sparky's Paranormal. Hello. And I just thought we'd dedicate an entire episode because so many people, even your listeners, are fascinated by your manor.
Yeah. Seems to be one of those places, isn't it?
Oh, it is. You got 4 hours?
I know.
We could go forward, but I'm sure other shows after me might have a say.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah.
I
Well,
know.
it's okay. Michelle's here. She said it's okay. No.
There you go. See? Perfect.
I know.
Heidi,
Yeah. Hey.
Janie.
Yeah. So the manor house, Wayne, why don't you start? I mean,
And
know.
where do you want me to start?
I don't
Like,
know.
Way
Buying
back
it?
in the day. In the beginning. Yeah, let's start from the beginning.
In the
'cause
beginning.
That's novel.
Yeah, they were kind.
I was looking for a Victorian house. So I wanted a manor house. I wanted something that was more suited to what I was doing at the time, which was writing kind of Gothic literature, historical fiction and stuff. And this one it wasn't even on the listings to be sold. I went to look at another house, and it was literally that, just a house. And the guy who was selling it, he said, "Well, I've got another one that's like a bed and breakfast, but it's not everyone's cup of tea." And I said, "Well, what do you mean it's not everyone's cup of tea? What do you mean by that?" And he goes, it's kind of Gothic looking, and people are kind of afraid of it. Okay, let's go look at it. I want it. Now, it did not look like that when I bought it. It was actually, all the brick was painted blue, and all the
I
trim
couldn't
was
find
white.
the blue picture.
That's okay. But if you could just picture all the blue, all the
Oh.
bricks were blue, and all the red, the blood red trim was white with white kind of yellow piping. I always said it kind of looked like the Smurfs met the Addams Family. It was really weird. It was really, really weird, right? But it took me about 1.5 years to sort of orchestrate this cell, and I really liked it because when I was there, I really picked up on a female spirit. And the way I described it, it was like if you ever go into an old wooden attic in the summer, and it's that really hot, dusty old wood smell. That's what it smelled like, even outside. Like even walking around the house, it smelled like that. And one of the times I was there, like doing some measuring and stuff and trying to figure out how I was going to do it, I literally could hear this woman say, "You're not leaving, are you? You're not leaving already, are you?" You know, I'm like, "I'll be back. It'll be okay. I'll be back." You know, it took me forever to get it, but I finally got it. So it literally, when I walked in the front door, when it was actually mine, it wasn't like it felt new or anything. It just felt like, I am home. Like, I'm sure I lived there before, something along those lines. So yeah, that's what it felt like. And that's when all the cray-cray started.
The cray-cray.
Yeah, it was wild. It was crazy. The first couple of nights, there was walking, lots of walking in the house, lots of footsteps walking all over the place. Back then, I was doing a lot of theater. So this one particular night, I sat the hair mousse styling gel on the night table beside the bed, and if it was just like somebody running their fingers on it like that, and moose inside of metal tins kind of got that reverberation, that little bit of an echo to it. And I could hear it right beside my head. It's like, bling, 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 bling. I'd look at it and it would stop and roll back over and it would start again. And finally later, I'm like, look, knock it off. Seriously, like if you keep playing with it, I was going to put it away, right? So I got to sleep.
It's like a child.
Yeah, and it stopped immediately. I was like, okay, thank you, perfect.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
Yeah.
So that was the early sort of introductions to living with a house that had spirits in it.
Mm.
Well, the house chose you when you heard you're not leaving, are you?
You're not leaving, are you? Yeah.
So the house chose you.
Yeah, pretty much there. It was really faint too. So it was like the voices I heard in the house were like boom, vivid. But that one, early days, was just really quiet. It was just like, you're not leaving, are you? Like that kind of. It was really quiet. But after that, it was quite like, what are you doing? In your face kind of voice, right? So they made themselves known. I forgot about all these pictures. Wow, look at that.
I know. You know what? Just so everybody knows, like I'm very private. And anybody who knows me knows I'm very, very private. We've filmed a lot of TV shows here, but we've never really let a lot of people into our world, right? So I'm just putting up pictures while everybody's talking, and it's just to give you a little bit of insight as to what our home looked like. And again, factoring in, it doesn't look like that anymore, obviously, because we've parted.
Somebody else parted
it out,
changed it out, yeah.
And I didn't want to sell everything with it.
Now those pictures you were just showing, like they're of the upstairs tower on the second floor.
Oh, right here, yeah.
Yeah, so that's right at the top of the staircase, looking out of the tower windows.
Those are.
We believe that's where the lady of the house, Margaret, used to have her morning tea. Yeah. And it was really interesting because a friend of mine was staying with me for quite some time, and he had the room right across from that. And one morning he heard the sound of a spoon going around in a teacup, like that, ding, 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 ding. And he like freaked out because he thought I was already up having breakfast. And he comes bolting down the stairs, racing through the kitchen, and I'm in there like I'm just starting to put the kettle on. He's like, "Were you just making your tea?" I'm like, "No." So I heard you making your tea. I go, "You wouldn't hear me making tea on the second floor at the front of the house or all the way to the kitchen. You won't. It's just not happening." So, yeah. So that was kind of funny. But that's the what that picture is there. That would have been the original kitchen of the house, and then when they expanded it in 1882 or 83, I believe, they changed that into an office room. So.
Oh wow!
Yeah, that became the office. This is the front parlor or the gentleman's smoking room.
My God, I love it.
Yeah.
When I bought the house, anyway, it was that fireplace you see in the corner wasn't there. Like the fireplace was there, but it was bricked in, and there was no wood mantle. There was nothing. Right there, see that?
Here, right in here.
You can see it in the corner.
Yeah.
Okay.
Michelle
we have other pictures that we'll show it all. Yeah.
Michelle found the mantle online. It was at a house in Toronto that was being gutted, and they had all these bits and pieces that were being sold off. She messaged me and she goes, "Do you think you can get to Toronto in the next 40 minutes?" I'm like, "Nope." But I could try.
Can do.
So I threw it in the truck and I raced down there to get it, and I got it. And it was like, what's with this white and yellow? It's just like, it's such a gross color combination. Looks like eggs in a pan. But that's the whole fireplace looked like that. So I brought it home and set it up and stripped it all, and it was just a nightmare to strip it all. And then we built the fireplace back in and redid it all, re-strengthened all the brick, and big job.
I'm so envious of all the antiques you have. Oh my God, it's so beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Definitely a labor of love. And this is looking up the grand staircase, of course. This is from the tower top.
I want everyone to just think about that curved stairwell and how high that is and how heavy every single one of those mirrors is and how I got all the way up there to actually hang those. At one point I was on a ladder. I was leaning out over the balcony, and Michelle had her hand hooked through my pant loops, through my belt loop, to make sure I didn't go all the way over because I was reaching so far. I was just like, I'm insane. I'm insane. I have to be insane.
Yeah. I know.
So that's what we call the office or the ladies' tea room, which would have been the kitchen where that fireplace is now.
Which wasn't there.
It wasn't there. It was covered in because it would have been the old kitchen wood stove. That would have been the kitchen.
Yeah. There we go.
Like
So
Patsy says, a dream place. Yep.
That was a
Yeah,
nightmare
thank
place for
you.
sure. Every time I turned around, there was something to fix. Always
I
something
was
to fix.
creative.
Oh,
I was creative.
you were creative.
Listening. Wayne,
Yes, what?
I am not at all domestic. I'm just saying. Not that I
No.
haven't done it, but I
No.
prefer to not.
No, that's perfect. That's okay. I can handle it. I would hear sounds like water dripping and stuff like that, and I would be running around the house.
He would lose his mind.
Oh my God! Because every time I heard something,
know.
it was something wrong, something catastrophically wrong. It was a little bit of a stressor.
Yeah. And with reference to the mirrors, they were all strategically placed, painstakingly placed to make sure we didn't get a lot of those reflections. You might have caught a corner, and it's me, so always easy to keep a lot of that secure. Just saying. So
Yeah.
be careful.
None of them looked at each other.
No, we were very, very careful with that. You had to be. Something reared its head. It wasn't pop it out,
Yeah,
So
interesting for sure.
me, Renos, yeah. So there we go. That's
When I
looking
moved
into
in,
the piano room there.
That what you see there, those columns weren't there. That was actually drywalled all in.
Yeah.
Wow.
Those beautiful floors were all covered, and
Yeah.
it was drywalled in because that was another apartment, which I tore it all out. That's when I realized they'd actually cut the load-bearing wall. I'm surprised the house didn't fall down. Honestly, I thought I'm stunned that it never came down. So we had to jack it all back up and put beams in and lock them all in place. And we were down in the basement lifting 2 floors with we had 10 6-ton jacks. And we were lifting them up, and then we had stationary jacks on the first floor locked into place. So as we lifted from the basement, it took the second floor up with it. It was like being in a coal mine. Every time we moved it 1/8 of an inch, you'd hear the whole house groan, and dust would come down. I'd be like, oh my god, this is going to come down on our heads.
Yeah.
Like Misha asked earlier, who did the dusting
Yeah,
for this
Wayne.
place?
Wayne.
it was me.
Yeah. So he was very patient. More so than I.
Yeah,
You're
well,
not patient, Michelle. Oh.
for some things.
No. Depends.
For some things.
Yeah, depends.
Yeah. So that's the front parlor, looking at it from the other angle.
Mm-hmm. The attic. Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
it's a huge attic, but it's only accessed through a cutout in one of the bedrooms that I'm pretty sure wasn't there when we built the house. They didn't have a staircase to the attic room at all, but it was massive up there. It's this huge space.
Yeah.
The raccoons loved it.
The raccoons.
Oh, man.
Yes. Somebody had to wage war against the raccoons on more than one occasion.
Oh yeah, it was nasty.
So,
it was nasty.
Yeah. So those are that for the house pictures. Of course, there's bedroom pictures and things like that, and there's a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. But I mean, you can only show so much. We'd be here for the hour just looking at pictures,
Oh yeah, you would for sure. Without a doubt. That's why I say I got 4 hours. I lived there for 13 years.
Yes.
And it was 12 years of full-on restoration.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, exactly. The house was sold, and we were pretty happy about it after a while. I mean, it got to a point where, people were just showing up, and you got people with their faces in your windows, and so most of the time the windows was unbelievable.
We were on a ghost tour. The buses would show up out in front of the house. Everyone would get out, take pictures of it, and I'm just, what the hell's going on? What is this going on?
And
you're
we've
on a
got the
ghost tour.
diesel fumes coming in. It's like,
who said it was okay as a private residence? Me?
Did they know that you guys live there? Is that why they would stop there? Or?
There was just on a haunted tour. Like I said, I never knew who actually put it on, or if it was
together,
a good guess, or what it was. Right?
No,
nobody we knew.
No, we used to be on part of the walking tour, and then we, people we started filming at the house, and a lot of people filmed down that area because it's the old Doctor's Row. Really nice, couple of really nice houses there, and so then Wayne was sitting outside writing one night on the veranda, and some guy just wanders in thinking it's a facade.
Oh no!
Oh yeah, he walks up, says hi. I said hi, and he walks right in the front door. I'm like, excuse me, where are you going? He goes, I'm just gonna have a look around. Well, what do you mean have a look around?
First off, what the hell? You still need permission for that.
He goes, oh, you live here? Like, yes, I live here. He's like, I thought it was kind of like a facade for movies. Even if it was, they would let you just walk around, man. Like,
yeah.
I know.
So funny.
And then we had a couple of ladies stopped by one time. I opened the door and they're looking in the window. I'm like, "Can I help you?" And I'm just like fangs out, like, "What are you doing?" Because they're just both like, it was very intrusive. Anyway, she goes, "Oh, we didn't know anybody lived here." I said, "Do the recycle bins and the cars in the driveway not give you any kind of hint on that?" Like, you know, I
Blood.
don't like.
Funny.
I know. I should
Well,
have said, you can see me?" Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
see, that's the sort of stuff I do.
I know.
You see me. Did
I
that in an
know.
elevator one time at work. It was pretty funny.
I know. It's
Yeah.
like it got to be, I think, a little much. But you basically, you know, all of season 5 of Paranormal Survivor was filmed there. We had a few shows filmed there. One, Paranormal Nightmare, was filmed there. I think part of season 4. But even the producers would come in and were taking all these pictures. Says, "You can't put those live." What? I'm like, "No, you can't.
It's our house.
It's our house."
Yeah.
You know, you don't
walk around
have
taking
permission
pictures
to
of
do
everything.
that. Yeah. So they're like, "Oh, well, how about just like on my page?" How about no? Yeah.
People still look at your page.
And then they take the picture, then they share it out.
I know. It just gets, yeah. So it's just a matter of just trying to hold on to whatever privacy, you know, that we could get. But the house was notoriously, you know, haunted, because even people who were there before used to have stories, you know. So yeah, scare them up the wazoo. That'd be about right. So, you know, but I mean, we love the house. The house definitely, I mean, I don't know how many people would just say to me, you know, the house had its own life. It seemed to have its own persona. And it's just like, it did. The house is in Niagara. We no longer own it. It no longer looks anything like that. As you can see, the new house does, though. The new house does. But yeah, so I know I made sure, like, all the furniture, like, I think we only decided on a few pieces to leave behind. You know, I mean, I wanted it to look nice, but no, it's definitely doesn't look anything like that. Because I have people who recognize the house who messaged me and said, like, you know, "What does it look like now?" Well, I don't know, I have to go experience it. And then they would show me afterwards. They go, "Well, this is what it used to look like."
Wasn't
And I
us.
sent out a couple of pictures and they were just like,
Yeah.
you know, so it's drastically different. It was more along the lines, looked more like a museum when we had it, you know. So but yeah, it's
It's
a beautiful
interesting.
house. Very, very, very haunted as well. And you know, we didn't leave it that way, though. Just saying.
No, it's all clear.
We wouldn't do
It was
that.
interesting because we found two sets of servant stairs.
Yeah.
One was completely gone. They took it right out, and I could never understand why the wood and the joists and the structure was like the way it was in the basement. Only until I started gutting the second floor, and I realized it was like not a spiral staircase, but it was like a square all the way up.
Yeah.
And then there was the other one that they put in on the other side of the kitchen that went up, and it was just a straight run, straight up. And that was probably done around 1887 or so when they expanded the house towards the back. But I was going to open it all up, and then it was just like, I don't think I'm going to open it all up, because if I'm going to sell it, then nobody really wants a staircase from the second floor to the kitchen, from a guest room to the kitchen. So I just, like, sadly, I was like 3/4 of the way of opening it up, and I just like closed it back up and made it a closet, which was just...
Had we kept it, I think it would have been a lot different. We would have finished it. The problem is the tourism in the area just kept growing and growing and growing. It was getting harder to come out of the house without, you know, having a lot of people around, and it was just getting to be too much. Like, in fact, when we bought this place here, I remember saying to Wayne, I says, "Did you hear that?" And he goes, "What?" I go, "Absolutely freaking nothing." It was so nice. It was just so nice, because people don't realize it wasn't just paranormal activity we were having. We were starting to have extraterrestrial activity as well.
The house was always buzzing. Like, there was always, even my son, when he lived with me, and he's like 22 at the time, when he moved out, he goes, I don't miss the droning. What do you mean the droning? Because it was always like this. In my bedroom was always like a fan running, right? It's like, really?
Yeah.
Never heard that.
No,
but yeah, he was happy to be out of that for a while.
Yeah.
Do you know when the house was built?
1872.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So then it was completely renovated, and between 1885 and 1887, the old man who built it, he died 10 years later. He died 1882.
Oh.
And then his son took over, and he gutted it, expanded it, put the beautiful floors in, changed everything. I mean, got to remember when that was built in 1872. They didn't even have proper heating in there. They had coal-fired fireplaces in every single room. There was no central heating.
Crazy.
Nothing. Zero. No hydro. Nothing. Zero. No electricity.
Yeah.
No indoor bathrooms. It was wild. It was crazy. Found the original bathroom, which was called the Thunder Box. Use your imagination.
Thunder Box. Sounds so serious.
Yeah, it was. And it was just a box on the floor and a drawer in it. So you went and did your business, and then rang the bell, and somebody came and took care of your business.
Exactly.
Oh,
yeah.
I've heard of them as with the water closet. I've heard of them.
That's when they had water, but they didn't.
Well, yeah. I guess
this was just empty. It was just it was an indoor outhouse, and you had the wash basin with the little jug, right? That was what you had, right? But I found the whole layout of it. I found underneath the floors. It was all there. It was craziness.
Then there was like a secret place in the basement that had been all like bricked in, and we would just stare at it. We knew there was something in it.
Oh yeah, there was definitely something in it. But because that was the first generation of what I call cinder block, cement block. The whole basement's fieldstone, so it's all like limestone stacked one on top of the other, all mismatched, right? The whole basement's like that. It was more of a crawl space, and they had like one door that went in from the outside that they sealed that all up. And just recently, probably about 6 months before we moved out, I was doing work painting outside and stuff, and the ground had kind of settled on one side. I could see an archway where it would go down to the basement. I said, Michelle, I guarantee you that was the original side that went into the basement from there, and they filled that in, and that's where they bricked it in.
Oh yeah.
So that's where they expanded the basement, and they put a furnace and stuff down there. Then there's this old area, and it's got a window on the far side. So I said, nobody would put a window into a crawl space. Nobody. This was all open space that somebody has backfilled.
Oh yeah, we've had mediums speculate what was there. We knew. We were just
I knew what was there.
We're just like, better. Some things are better left alone, and that was one of those situations. But we did. I'll say this: we ended up clearing the spirit that was there.
Yeah.
So yeah, you want to get to those?
What,
we could just keep going, Kat. I'm talking Kat.
Yeah, there's just a couple of questions here.
Yeah.
So,
do they reach out? The spirits there. Anyone who needed to be moved on was moved on.
Right.
But the spirits of the house, lady of the house, I mean, they weren't grounded. They were never stuck. So they probably still visit. Have they ever visited us? I think Margaret came once with my little chihuahua that passed just in our last year that we were at the house, because she just loved PETA. So PETA hung out with Margaret, and that was probably about it.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very, So, I will not be writing at all. Everybody can say, I'm not going to be
probably not. Wayne's too
no
busy to write. Wayne's got like 7 books to write, and he's too busy fixing everything at this new house.
Yeah, I know.
Yes,
because we like the new house. Yeah, we like older houses. This one resembles a British or European cottage. It's got, what I liked about it was it had big church doors, big colossal church doors on it. As soon as I just saw it, I went, mine.
I joked with her. I said, if those doors were standing upright in a farm field, we would have bought it.
Wouldn't be the first time I bought doors like that.
This is no house at all, but the doors. Got to have the doors.
No, but we did see it, and it had a beautiful, when you go in, big terracotta, like round ceiling in it. It was all added afterwards. It was beautiful. Big piece of property. The whole house, everything is under these huge trees. Really well-grounded property. So they were going to have like an open house, and I just called them, and we want to see it. So she squeezed us in, and we just said, no, we'll take it. You're not going to put an offer? No, we'll just give you what you want. Just give me the house.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was about it. So,
yeah. And here we are.
Yes. No. We do not.
No, never.
We don't dream about the house. No.
Never.
I think the house has a way though of making its way. It's got a very, or at least it had a very unique energy. I'm sure it still does, but there's a whole array of people that come in and out of it on a regular basis. And it's so funny because I remember the new owner saying, yeah, everybody tells me I should just tell everybody the house is haunted. Like, what? So we just sort of left it at that. I said, well, it could be a good feature, whatever. But Yeah, no, we didn't leave it that way by any means. So
No. I mean, you got to
yeah,
remember, like, it's like I painted the house when I first got there. I did all the trim, everything
yeah,
outside. And then before we moved, I freshened everything up. And that fresh up took me almost a month every single day. I
yeah.
had a cherry picker truck, and because it's like 3 stories tall in places.
Way,
So
way up.
way up. And even like in the cherry picker truck, I'm just like, I don't like this
The wind
at
would
all.
hit and you'd see it going like this.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
It was
I'm
so high
painting
up.
like this.
I know.
That's all right.
fun.
I'm good.
I know. He'd be doing things because you need to come up onto the roof, and because we had, we come out the tower onto a flat roof, and then there would be the peak going up towards the tower. And I'd come out, and he's got a ladder up there, and I'm out there taking pictures, standing on the roof. I say, "Oh, look at all this up here." He goes, "Hello."
Yeah, I'm around the corner of the tower going, hello, can you pack? Are you there?
And
Can
I'm
you
just
pass me that
sightseeing.
bucket of stuff? I need it.
I don't get up there
Oh,
often.
sorry. I forgot. Sorry. I'm
I
sorry.
freaking jimmy my rear end out some freaking little window. I'm making the most of it.
So that's part of the reason that we sold it too, is that I'm thinking, okay, so I've got another 10 years to go before I'm going to have to repaint it again. All right. So that makes me, I'm going to be 73 at that point. I don't want to be painting a house that big. And it would probably cost you $25,000 to paint that house if you actually had a company coming to do it. Yeah, I just couldn't even imagine.
At least. Yeah.
Well, before COVID happened, we had the roof done. And that's before all the prices jumped. And it was just under 25 grand.
It cost us more to do this house.
Yeah, it did. It cost us more to do this
really?
small house than that huge manor house because of the price jump.
I say small. This house has a very big footprint.
Yeah.
It
didn't have a 3-story tower on funky angles with special tiles. No way.
No, that's true. That's true.
So,
I almost half expect you guys to tell me that there were stairways that led to nowhere.
there was. There absolutely was.
Yeah.
No, I mean more stairways, like more like that. What's that house called in the States?
Oh, the Winchester House.
Winchester
Yeah.
House.
No,
Yeah.
nothing like that.
Kind of to that level.
We had one set. Yeah. That
we had one set in the
to
kitchen
nothing.
that went up, and then I had another set in the basement that went to an outside door that was never there anymore. If you took those stairs up, you'd finish up in the first floor bathroom.
That's crazy.
So they were completely closed off. Everything was closed off. Yeah.
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 But
Mort asked, any spirits followed you to the new house?
No. We moved everybody on, and the spirits that were not stuck could visit wherever they want, really. I mean, no, they sort of just came and went,
Yeah. Except for one guy that we had to take care of. By we, I mean Michelle. The spirits there were really respectful. They would listen. I would talk to them, and I would explain situations to them, and they would respect my decisions on certain things. There was one day I was editing a book, and there's these 3 guys like having a conversation, like full blown in the next room, blah 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 blah. I don't know what they were saying, but there were 3 distinct voices, and I'm just like, hey, it's me, guy who owns the house. Can you just be quiet, please? 'Cause I'm trying to work. Thanks so much. I got quiet for a little while. Then it started really low first, then got louder. And I finally was like, hey, okay, take it outside. It's a beautiful night. Have a cigar, take some brandy, go outside and have this conversation outside because I have to work. Yeah? Cool? Yeah?
Don't make me get Michelle.
And honestly, you could hear the footsteps walk down the hallway, and you could hear the front door open. Like it didn't open, but you could hear the sound.
you could
it's
hear it.
distinctive, right?
That's
and it was dead
awesome.
quiet for the rest of the night. Yeah, it was wild.
Dead quiet.
Dead quiet.
I know, but sometimes you'd hear things going up and down the stairs. Sometimes,
all the time.
I'd come home and I'd hear, well, hello there. Somebody's on the steps. I'm looking around. Wayne, hello.
Not me.
First, I just kind of went, hey. Or that time we were right. We had a friend of ours at the time doing work in the dining room area, and the door was open. Wayne was in the back of the room, and I'm talking to this guy, and the door swings right open. He looks at me and he goes,
yeah, how about
and
that?
I'm just going, it's great.
The best thing about that door opening into that room was when we had taken it over, it was sort of apartments, and that door had an automatic closer on it because it was a fire door. It can't just swing open.
There's a heavy
Someone
door.
has to push it.
Yeah, I know.
So,
it was crazy.
she's sitting there as a open it comes. So what open?
Rob is like,
yeah, how about that?
All right. Things like that would happen like pretty much all the time. I mean, you sort of got used to it. With Jen's question, no, Wayne was always really good. We would explain everything to the spirits. There were no
Mhm.
surprises
Mhm.
at
No, I would
all.
hold family meetings, literally.
Yeah.
I would just be like, "Hey, everybody, having a meeting in the parlor. I just need to explain what's going on tomorrow." You know, and I'd
You'd be
sit there by
there. Yeah.
myself, you know, like, and, you know, you'd feel the energy a little bit. Like, I'm not an energy worker. I'm not any of that kind of stuff. But you'd actually feel like the energy of the room change slightly. I just,
Mhm.
I knew they were there. I'm like, okay, I'm tearing out the ceiling in the dining room tomorrow. I'm going to put it back, but it's
Yeah.
dangerous. It's going to fall down. So I've got to
Yeah.
fix it. So
That's
I'm going to
true.
move all the furniture out. Everything's coming out. I'm going to tear the walls out. I got to run electrical wires and stuff like that. Do not panic. I will fix it. And everything went really smoothly. Really, really
And
smooth.
they even showed us where there was a hidden door in between the walls. We asked
That's
about
crazy.
it.
Really?
Yeah, I
Yep.
just took out the pendulum and it just directed us right over to it. And sure enough, he opened the
Was
wall,
there?
and there it was, this gorgeous doorway with all this intricate carvings on the inside of the door frame. I'm just
Beautiful woodwork.
like,
Gorgeous.
Wow.
who the hell would just barrel this all up and lock it up? It's just crazy.
And it was
And they
in the
just
same
walled it in.
family. Yeah, it was in the same family for 100 years.
Yeah.
And they sold it in 1969 to a landlord company, and they just came in and just ripped everything of value out. All the
Oh.
doors, all the beautiful glass work, light work,
Mhm.
everything was stripped out of the house, and it
Mhm.
was all drywalled up and made into apartments. So
Yeah. So when we decided that when we were opening up a couple of areas, he said, "I'm going to do this in a way so it can never be changed back." And when the new owners bought it, they wanted to create another room. He didn't make it easy for them, that's for sure. But
no,
he refused to do the work, but he told
like
them how it
I
could be
still
done.
work there part time for them when they need stuff,
Yeah.
because
Oh, nice.
they
Yeah.
they called a guy one time to come in to do an electrical problem, and the guys, I have no idea what's going on. Like, no idea at all. He's like,
Yeah.
I'm going to have to rip everything out. I'm going to have to do this, do that, do this, that. She called me and she's just like, can you please come over and look at this?
Mhm.
Because my husband's looked at it. He's at a loss. The guy we hired, he's at a loss. Can you come and look at it? So it's going to be a problem in the attic in the back part of the house. I know exactly where it is. So
Yeah.
we'll just have to fish a line up through there. We can
Mhm.
get that up there like that. Raccoons that chew through the wire, right? So
Oh, yeah.
anyway,
Mhm.
so it took me about 40 minutes. And
Mhm.
fish the line
Okay.
up and cut out the old stuff, put the new stuff in, and that was that. So they're like, "How do you know all this stuff?" 13 years I've lived here. I know exactly where everything is.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Don't mess with it because I'll know.
I'll know. Don't do
Yeah.
stuff and call me because I'll know.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
even you and I, Wayne, we'll be talking via email, and you're telling me about all the renos you're doing in the basement, and something that's only supposed to take a couple of hours, and it's like,
Yeah.
there's a lot
Yeah.
more that has to be
Oh,
done.
it's always
That's
that.
for the love of old houses, as you have.
It is
And
though,
so
like,
many people have had their hand in it, you know.
and it's usually done like it's always done by the lowest bidder. Always, like
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
If it
Yeah.
needs a dollar, you'll get a dime and be happy, right? So.
Yeah.
I mean, I went downstairs one day, like just to put a cupboard up in where the laundry area is. Michelle's like, "How long will it take?" I'm like, "I don't know." She says,
Yeah.
"Well, you've done this before." I'm like, "I know." And that's why I don't know.
I know.
Because if it's just mounting a cupboard, it'll take me 20 minutes. But it won't take me 20 minutes because there's going
Yeah.
to be stuff that I'm going to
Yeah.
find. And man, did I
Yeah.
find stuff. Man, did I find stuff. It was a nightmare. Just a nightmare to put a cupboard
Yeah.
up.
I know. It's great though, isn't it?
What?
That home? Well, yeah.
What's great? What part?
No, all of the above. No. Which home? The manor was 1872?
1872 was the manor. This one's
1872.
1920.
1920.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because I was just down in the basement yesterday and I pulled an old makeshift wall out of the way because I'm doing work down there, and I found little chunks of coal, little pieces of coal left over.
That's
Which
neat.
to us
And
is very exciting.
But yeah, it's really
Yeah.
neat because it dates it.
It
So I
dates the
said
house,
it's either
Mm.
was the coal-fired boiler, which I don't think it was because they would have had hot water heat by then with oil. I'm pretty sure because I can see the oil tank
Mhm.
holes where they were. But I'm thinking it was a coal fireplace. Personally, is what I think that was, because there wasn't the holding spot wasn't big enough to actually. I mean, this house wouldn't have had a servant running down there every 20 minutes to stoke the boiler.
No, no,
Negative.
Yeah.
no.
Negative.
It's
Negative.
like the old apartment building that I grew up in New Brunswick, where I saw the Hat Man. And when they first, I don't know how old the building was, but they used to have a coal furnace in the basement to heat the building.
You have to stoke that.
So,
See, we had in the manor in the Niagara Falls house, when I was downstairs, started to familiarize myself with the place. I found all these little pulleys, which I didn't really know what they were. They were all over the place in the basement. And I found ones with little chains still hanging on them, like little bath chains. And I'm like, what the heck is all this stuff? And they all went back to the kitchen. And I'm like, I got it. I know what it is. It's when they wanted different heat for different rooms, they'd pull on the chains, and whoever's in the basement would then stoke the fire.
Oh.
And they direct it, right? So it's kind of, that's what it was all for. It was all directed by one spot. So yeah, it took me a while to figure out what that was.
Yeah.
Was your house on a ley line? I don't know, was it?
No, the house wasn't on a ley line, but it was very close to Niagara Falls, the river. It had so much like power structures all down along the river. So even at that point, it was just insane, the energy that would come in off the river. Like, it was just crazy. The stuff we could hear, it was unreal over there.
I'll tell you a funny story about just the Niagara River being there. Before, like, quote, sanitation was a thing, when they first brought the toilets in, they actually dug a hole all the way across into the gorge. So when you flush the toilet, it just went there. And there was actually an actual tunnel. I'm not telling you could walk through tunnel, but it was probably like 2 feet high, and it was all brick lined that went out that way. And I was working on the house probably about 3 years before we sold it. And this guy comes wandering through, and he's all dressed up and in the gear of today's workers. And he said, "I'm sorry to bother you." He said, "I'm working on the house behind you." And he said, I'm trying to plumb the drains out to the manholes, out to the sewer systems. And he said, I can't find it. I said, "Well, it doesn't go that way." He goes, "What do you mean it doesn't go that? It has to go that way." I said, "It doesn't go that way. It comes right through my yard. It goes right through there. There's a tunnel right below here, right where we're standing. You can see the dip in the grass. That's where your pipe runs. It'll run right through here, and then it'll tap into the mains on the road. That's why you can't find it on the street behind us, because it's not there." But the neighbor actually talked to him and said, "Go talk to the guy next door, because he knows everything about this whole area."
It's true. It's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah. So.
Well, it sounds like you're quite the handyman.
Well, you have to be. When you own a house like that, you either have to be independently wealthy, or you have to know, or you learn. Like, I didn't know about rads. I didn't know about black iron. I didn't know about any of that stuff. And I had to learn about it all. Like, I had to figure out where to buy iron, where to buy pipe, where to buy all the elbows, the fittings, everything.
Even learned some new curse words.
A lot of curse words, a lot of swearing, a lot of throwing of tools.
Yeah.
Yeah,
knew some new curse words. But
there's lots of that stuff.
The house was so active. I mean, I love it. I'm in a way, sometimes I miss it because of the type of activity that would go on. The ET activity, which that started in the last probably 3 years.
Yeah, probably
of being there, and it got kind of crazy as well. But I mean, you get used to it, and it's just like, it becomes a non-event. People just are like, "Oh yeah, this is great." We didn't let people get intrusive with it. We just couldn't come over to investigate it, So we had friends do it one time, and it upset the spirits, because they just weren't very kind researchers, I guess. They were just sort of trying to do reenactments, and it did not apply to the family of the house. And the house went quiet for like 2 weeks. Like,
Oh wow.
Silent. Yeah, it was crazy.
Quiet.
Silent. Yeah, it was crazy.
They were not happy.
No, they weren't. And that was the last time.
Yeah.
That was the last time anybody got to come in to investigate the house. And they were friends, which is the only reason they were there.
Yeah.
Do you still have that picture that I showed you of the spirit behind me?
Yeah, I've got 2 pictures to share. The house, the spirits are funky sometimes, because they did not like to be They did not like to be photographed.
Yeah.
So I remember saying to Wayne, "That's okay, just do a selfie."
Mhm.
And they won't even realize that you're taking a picture because camera's the other way, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So this is the one picture that everybody seems to go over, and it is a very interesting photo. It's an
Yeah.
oldie but a goodie.
Yeah.
So
It
we're
was
gonna
taken in the
zoom in.
bedroom. That's the canopy bed, and I took it over my shoulder, and you
Okay.
can see
Oh,
spirit
wow.
behind the bedpost, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like it's looking around like this.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what are you doing?
To the hair
Yeah.
here, the shoulders, and
There's two eyes, and there's one hand up high. There's one hand
yeah,
around the
yeah,
post like this, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was very very interesting because they basically just started like they follow Wayne around all the time when he was doing work, and it was really fascinating because I said just start doing that. There's all kinds of them too. There's all kinds of them. But one picture here that stands out as well. I've got the original picture which was sent, and then I've got a close up of it as well. So you have to bear with me for a second here. Okay, so here's this picture here. Um, in the mirror behind the ghost.
There was no mirror
There's
behind
no
it.
mirror there at all.
Nothing
No
there.
mirrors. None.
I actually, what's really funny in that same room, I took another picture at another time, same sort of thing, over my shoulder. And what I got, it's difficult to see, so we don't really show it a whole lot because you have to really know the room. But it's the back of a woman's head. So I'm facing east and she's facing west. So my
Mhm.
camera caught the back of her head, and she's got like a hair fascinator in her hair, and there's a oval mirror on the wall, and you can see her face in the oval mirror as
In the
she's
mirror.
adjusting her face in the mirror, but there's no mirror in that room.
Oh, wow.
But you can see
Yeah.
all of that in the
Yeah.
in the photo. That was a really trippy look because it's not even
Yeah.
looking at me taking the picture of her. It was wow, crazy.
Yeah.
It's cool when you can see that. This is one that was
Mhm.
just sent to us. So this is in the old servants'
Yeah.
quarters here. So there's this one. It might be a little
Yeah.
larger. I probably won't even have to show the other one.
That part
So
of
it's
the house was built on. That was built on in 1886, 87.
Mm-hmm. And people who I guess had stayed there at the time had picked up on a little girl. So a lot of people. There have been people. I wish I had time to dig out all the pictures,
Mm.
but there was a photo taken of somebody who was visiting at the house, and there's a little girl holding her hand in the hallway from this
Yeah.
room, right at the door of this room
Hmm.
here.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much it right there.
Can you zoom in on that picture at all?
Yeah, I'm trying.
Okay. 'Cause
Without
that's
it getting blurry.
without it getting blurry. Yeah, I
Yeah.
have one that's actually cut in there, but that's not a
Hold on,
super
maybe.
good picture. We have a better one it's
Okay.
actually there's a girl's face clear right on. You can make
Yeah,
it out
I don't
without
know.
even trying.
I couldn't find them all, so give
Okay.
me 1 minute. I'm going to try to find.
Don't
the
worry
other
about it. It's
one.
okay. That's
One
fine.
second.
But
Oh, here.
a lot of people that
is it
stayed,
this one here? Hold on. I'll see if it's this one.
a lot of people that stayed in that room would come down at breakfast time and say, I woke up to a girl standing at the window, but her back was to me. And the more I tried to focus on it,
This
the harder it was to see her. Yes.
Okay, yeah.
That's perfect because you can see her nose and the
Mhm.
recess of her eyes and her mouth just below the nose.
Mm-hmm.
You can see a little bit of her neckline showing. And she would always look out there. And I remember asking, like one time, like, why do you look out the window there? And she goes, because I can see my parents in the garden from here.
Oh.
There used to be a stable back there. They used to
Yeah.
have a lot of acreage. The lady of the house used to have garden parties. We found tickets and little salt shakers. Everybody would have their own salt pepper shakers, just little like garden parties, huge garden parties.
Yeah, you'd have your own butter dish. You'd have your own salt and
Everything.
pepper tape.
Wow.
Yeah, everything. I even
Yeah.
found an absinthe spoon
Yeah.
No
outside.
way.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I found
Yeah.
that outside. We found broken horseshoes in the garden.
And tickets.
Oh, yeah.
We got to the garden
Hmm.
party and
Yeah, all kinds of
yeah.
stuff.
So,
I found a silver thimble, a sewing thimble for your finger,
yeah.
in one of the crawl spaces we were replacing pipes. onto the house, and my buddy was passing me the pipe, and I'm crawling through, and I saw this thing in the stand, and I picked it up, and I turned around in the tight space that it was, and I held it up, and I go, look at that. He goes, what is it? I said, it's a thimble for sewing. He's like, oh, is that cool? He goes, what is it made of? I said, I think it's silver. So I cupped it in my hand. I humped along on my shoulder with this pipe to get to the other end before I could tuck it in my pocket. And when I got there, I sort of sat up in the corner. I opened my hand. It was gone.
It was gone.
No.
I looked at him. I go, you saw that, right? He's like, I did. Where is it? I don't know. But I had my hand clenched the whole time, the entire time I was going through there. And that would have been the outside of the house at one time. That would have been all gardens. That's where we found horseshoes and chunks of coal. We found just a ton of oyster shells, clam shells down there. They would just throw them into the garden when they'd finished eating, right? So it's just tons of them in there.
Did you ever keep any of the things that you found?
Yeah, I didn't find very much, but I kept it all. Yeah.
Yeah.
I found all kinds of neat little things. Found chunks of coal and an old cottage cheese dish, but it was like that milk glass.
It was milk glass. Yeah.
Yeah, milk glass.
Old
Beautiful.
Milk glass.
It was out the back.
Glass.
What's milk glass? I don't think I've heard of it.
White glass. White.
Oh.
Like solid.
Oh, okay.
Pure white.
Yeah.
Before plastics. Like when we tore down the old garage, before they poured the new footings, I went out there with a metal detector. And I did the whole area before they came in. I found all kinds of like knives and forks and salt and pepper shakers and horseshoes. Like not $1 million by any means, but it was neat to find that stuff from that time period.
You just saw like the workmanship that went into things and how the house had transitioned over time. And it's incredible that a house could be loved so much where the owners would not be stuck, but would continue to return to the house and want to participate. There was a funeral. I mean, back then they used to do funerals in the house. And we found somebody had asked earlier if he knew anything about the owners of the house. He knew everything about the owners of the house. He was able to connect with, because they're very instrumental in the history of the area. So there was quite a bit known, but he was able to reach out to a family member in the States who sent photos. But one of the photos that we had was actually a post-mortem photo. And the guy, you see that, the guy sitting in a chair is like this, looking at his wife, and she's pinned up in a garden chair, which would not have been inside the house. And she's pinned up by her collar to keep her head up. And she's got a stand that has a little post in it, and she's holding it to make it look like she's reading a book like this. And you see her eyes are closed. Like it's just, it was
looks like
crazy.
She's looking down, but her eyes are closed.
But her eyes are closed.
Wow.
It was just crazy. And that's one, of course, that we did not leave with the house.
No.
So, we kept that one. It was the one picture that we did keep. But, it was a fascinating place, and the activity was pretty much regular. Sometimes
all the time. I mean, I remember being in the kitchen one time, because sometimes
I'd call them drive-bys. We had things come through all the bloody time. And I got growled at one day, and I'm just like, I'm not talking to you. I don't care. And I just kept walking, and kind of did my own thing. I was just like, and just clear it afterwards. But it's just, you just never know what you were going to get there. And I would hear chimes and bells all the freaking time. We'd be sitting at the table and I'd be hearing all this. I'm like, how do you not hear this? This is insane. It's nonstop. It's like, bing.
And Wayne wasn't hearing it.
Not at all. I tried everything. I tried to look for the logical answer for everything. I couldn't find one, but I couldn't hear it. I couldn't hear any of it.
It was crazy. Wild. And there was no set times for it. No. I could just be sitting there and it would start and it would stop. Because the logic tells you if it's at the same time, same sound all the time, something's going on. It was never like that. It was different. And anywhere from beautiful chimes that would sound almost like wind chimes, or sometimes it was just like tiny little bells. And it was just like incredible.
It was wild. What Sparky's asking here was, I used to hear that all the time. Like, one of the ones was I was doing the rental work in the back, which would have been the attached coach house at the time. And I was working with a friend of mine. We were up on a scaffold. We had our back to the door that led out to the backyard. And we were both putting up drywall. So we had our arms above our head. And I heard this woman's voice behind me was just like, hello, like that. And we're both in unison, like, hey, watch your step, like, just be careful. And we put the piece of drywall up, and then we turned around. There's no one there. And I come down off the scaffolding and I walk out the backyard, and he's like, "Who was it?" And I'm like, "There's no one here, man. There's no one here." But there was a nice perfume all through that room, really nice perfume all through that room. And the other one I used to get all the time was, "Where's your people?" Like, because I'd be working, I'm the owner of the house. I'm like killing myself up on ladders, crawling through the basement, and I'd hear this man's voice, "Where's your people?" Like, why are you doing this? What's wrong with you?
Yeah, couldn't afford the people. Yeah.
Like, hire somebody, dude. Like, what are you doing? Where's
But
your people?
look at the time when all the alarm systems went off in the house. And I mean, there were so many lights you could probably see from space.
Oh yeah, it was wild. It was crazy. Like we had had a theft of tools off the property, and it wasn't pleasant. It was a lot of money lost. We got the insurance to cover some of it, but that's the way it goes. And probably about 2 weeks later, we were just going to bed. My son was living with me at the time. Again, not a child by any means. And I was just getting ready to get into bed, and the alarms on the house went off, fire alarms. And when the fire alarm goes off, all the lights in the house go on, all the emergency lights go on, and it's craziness. It's just ridiculous. So I get up, he's sleeping upstairs, I'm sleeping downstairs. So I come out, and he's kind of looking over the balcony down at me. He's like, "Hey, yo, what's going on?" Like this. Like, I don't know. Just walk through the rooms upstairs, check all the fire alarms. The one that triggered it'll be flashing. So just find the one that's flashing and then reset it, and then I'll check the panel. He's like, "Okay." So I walk all the way downstairs, come back. He's like, "I found nothing." I said, "Yeah, me neither. There's nothing. I don't know what it is. It must be a malfunction. I'll check in the morning." He's like, "Okay." Literally, my butt just touched the bed. Boop. Again, like, all right, this is it.
Really?
He's upstairs. He's like, "Okay, what's happening?" I'm like, "Check everything. Open the windows. Smell for smoke. Something's coming through the house. It's pecking it off, right?" And he's like, "Okay, I'll do that." He said, "What are you going to do?" I said, "I'm going to check the basement. I'm going to go outside." He's like, "Okay." So I go outside, walk around the entire house. I don't smell anything. There's just nothing out of the ordinary. I mean, nothing, And so I come in the back door. And I hear him go, "Hey, Dad. Hey, Dad," like this. And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm here. I'm coming. What's up?" And so I'm walking through the house, walking through the kitchen to the front room. And he's in the hallway going, "What do you want? What is it? I'm here. I'm at the front. Where are you?" Like this. And I'm like, "I'm here." So we get in the dining room. We sort of meet in the middle. And I'm like, "What did you want?" He's like, "Nothing. What did you want?" I'm like, "Well, you called me." Right? And he goes, "I never said anything." He said, "You called me."
With you. Yeah.
And I'm like, "I never said anything to you." And then it twigged, right? I mean, wait a minute. You never call me Dad. Ever do you call me Dad. Right? And he's like, "Yeah, that's really weird. You called me Steven." Because you never call me Steven. You call me Steve. Right? And I was like, "Oh." And I said, "Okay, quick, without thinking about it, what do you think's going on?" He goes, "So I think the spirits are trying to tell you maybe the thieves are wandering around the house looking for new tools because they gave you time to replace them, and now they're maybe looking to score again." I'm like, "Yeah, thinking the same thing."
Yeah, so they were looking out for him because they looked out for Wayne for sure, and the house gave up its sounds more than anything. Every now and then, I mean, the sightings were not as much as the vocalization, I think, that we were getting. I mean, I remember filming there at one time, and I could see out of one of the front bedrooms this beautiful gown. I could just see it sweeping by, and it was just so incredible. I saw that.
Lots of people have seen that. It's crazy.
But that same night, he calls me because I wasn't living at the house yet, and he goes, "Did you leave the lights on upstairs?" Because I'm a bloody light Nazi. No, I would not. I lock everything up. And then all of a sudden the light went out. He goes, "Never mind. It just went out."
Yeah, mid-conversation, I'm looking up at the light from the car.
Yeah,
in the front room, and it goes out. There's nobody home.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, never mind. It's out now. It's cool. No. It's cool.
No.
That's cool.
And it's like the videos, like the one time like that I've told the story on my show. It's like we had security cameras in the house, and when I wasn't living there at that point, there was nobody in the house, because he's in Burlington, and it was New Year's Eve, starting at exactly, I think it was like 4:01, like right there. It must have been getting ready for celebration because all of a sudden the cameras were just going off like crazy. I'm going, what is going on? And right up until a couple of minutes, not even 2 minutes after midnight. Then everything just stopped. So there's no forced air in the house. There was nobody walking around. The house had been empty for about 4 months at that point, right? Nobody was living there. And it was nonstop. And I mean, I'm kind of funny with orbs because I'm just logical too. And there's a lot of scientific things that explain it, but there's a lot of amazing spirit orbs. The orbs that we were getting, we had some coming out of the chandeliers, going into the mirrors, vice versa. We had some coming from across the room and they would flicker and then just go in and move around. We had twin orbs at one time moving around. And I'm sitting there going, I have so many videos because it was just, the cameras just kept going off and they just kept pinning it every time they'd ping. And I'm looking at these videos going, it's unbelievable. So there's no bugs in January or December 31st. Nobody's in the house to kick up dirt anywhere. No forced air. So nothing's blowing around.
Nope.
There was nothing. Zero.
And some of those orbs, when we still shot the video,
They had faces
in them. Like
Yeah.
clear as a bell faces.
Wow.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah. And one looked like the woman, the postmortem woman.
Yeah, it did.
And it came out of
That's
that room.
interesting.
The medieval room that you saw
Yeah.
with the
Yeah.
piano. That's where it came out of, that one.
There was one guy with like just side hair, like nothing down the middle.
Yeah.
Clear as a bell. It's just crazy clear.
I know. It's just, but that's why we put a camera in the inside. It's like,
What's going on?
Because we had the security cameras, but like, let's just have some fun. They hardly ever went off.
No.
They hardly ever went off. And then on occasion they would through the winter months, we'd get a little bit, but it would be anywhere from 6 p.m. to, sometimes it would get more active, like after between like 11 and 1, that sort of thing. And then it just like kiboshed. But that night, right after, like a minute, maybe 2 after midnight, it was just silent. Nothing set the cameras off after that.
I'm going to tell you 2 things. One, I just want to answer Sparky here. Nothing like that happened at the house. Things didn't go missing. But at my previous home where I had the bike shop, I attributed it to gremlins because, man, stuff went missing all the time. It would turn up in other places. It was freaky, and to the point where I really got mad at them, told them off, told them I was going to take all their toys away, and that'd be the end of it. And I bought them toys to play with, and things settled right down. Yeah. And in fact, I could actually get them to find stuff for me. I lost a tool one time on a motorcycle. I lost this piece that went flying through the air, and I was like, "Nobody move!" Because I had to hear where it landed. Right, I didn't hear anything, and I asked them. I said, "Do you know where this thing is? Like, it looks like this. It's shaped like that. Can you tell me where it is?"
Yeah.
And this tool fell off the tool rack. Little tiny thing fell off the tool rack, and it was a spark plug socket. And inside the spark plug socket was that dime size thing, flew across the shop and went right into it. I never would have found it. Never would have found it. Why would that have fallen off the shelf at that time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the last thing was about having people talk to you. I had been working round the clock on this place, and I was exhausted. I just came in, and I had been up for countless hours, like well over 24 hours. And so I attribute it to being tired, but it was pretty real. And I came in, and I started to do the dishes, and I thought, let's do the dishes, and I'm going to go to bed. And from behind me, I heard this woman's voice, kind of Irish English voice. She goes, "You should leave those until later." And I said, "No, I'm fine. I'll just get them done. I'm okay." And she goes, "You're really tired, That's how you make mistakes." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but I just want to get it all done. Let's get it done and I'll sleep better." I'm rinsing this cup out. I'm like, hold on. I'm by myself. Right? And so I put the cup down and I said, "You're not really here, are you?" And she goes, no, dear. No, I'm not. Like, funny. Okay, shut the water off. That's it. I'll take your advice. I'm going to bed now. Good night. Sleep well, everybody. See you in the morning.
Wow. That's amazing.
That's life in the haunted manor.
Life in the haunted manor.
Wow. Well, so many people in the chat, as well as myself, and thank you so much for sharing the photos. I mean, that was amazing. Like, such a beautiful building. And I remember talking to you, Michelle, when you had posted a photo of the manor. I can't remember what it was a few years ago. And I messaged you and I said, "Yeah, your house isn't just haunted, it's alive, isn't it?" And you're like, "Yeah, it is." And it's like, "Yeah, I can pick up on it just from the photo." But yeah. Wow.
Oh, definitely. Back then, especially. Now she's pretty toned down.
Yeah.
Which is great. So, but it was just a little glimpse into our world. Like, I don't
Yeah.
share I don't share photos of the interior of our home, obviously,
Yeah.
But I thought it would be a nice opportunity to do so and give you a glimpse to what it looked like, at least when we had it.
Yeah. And we all really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You're
You're
welcome.
welcome.
So we are at the end. Do you guys have any final thoughts you would like to tell the audience?
Yes, catch Wayne and I an open mic on the Outer Realm tomorrow night. Woo! Yeah.
Woo-hoo!
What she said.
Yeah. Exactly. There we go. We'll continue with this shindig over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. There's so many stories and so many things. It's just wild. I think one of the curious things I found in there was a newspaper from 1887 that had all the ladies' wear. And I went to the Historical Society and said that store was literally up the street on the corner from where you were. They knew exactly what it was. That was wild, and to know that it finished up in the house somewhere.
That is very cool.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Well, thank you for having us.
Yes, please. Thank you
Thanks
so
for
much.
being on. Yes, it
A lot of
was.
fun.
Learning
Thank
more
you.
about you guys and the manor. So thank you.
You're welcome.
So I'm going to say goodbye to the audience, and we'll chat in a minute here if you have time.
We do. I think I do. You do.
Yeah.
Whoop, brought you back in. So thank you so much to my very special guest tonight and my amazing audience in UPRN 107.7 New Orleans and 105.3 the Gulf Coast. Remember, if you enjoyed the show, please support us by liking, subscribing, sharing, and commenting. And another way to help support the show is by grabbing some swag. If you like to pick up your very own Paranormal Heart podcast mug, like whoever's watching the video now can see now, reach out to me at paranormalheart13@gmail.com. So until next time, thank you so much. Much love to you all, and take care of each other.